Woody Allen's Decades in Film.
A podcast about the incredible filmography of one of the most prolific and most controversial filmmakers of our time. From Redneck Cella Studios A&B in Hong Kong, we are your hosts, William Melvin and Q.
What's up, everyone? This is What Woody Do? And we are here again, and we are now at the second movie for the 1980s. We are
Second
discussing
decade.
Woody Allen's films. And Q, why don't you give us the lowdown on what we just watched? Literally minutes before we started this recording.
Yeah, I think this is probably the quickest transition into the show that we have done.
Well, because we did not talk about and we did not talk about it. I mean, it's we will talk about the movie, of course.
Yeah.
But this is actually the first time we're talking about whatever in this for this.
Yeah.
film.
So okay, so
yes.
just FYI for everyone who's tuned into the show. So in the past, like in past episodes, we would briefly talk about the movie that we have seen as we're preparing to kind of like go into recording mode. For this one, we just this is literally less than 10 minutes after watching the movie.
Yeah.
So okay, so forgive us if we're a bit raw, so to speak. This episode is about Midsummer Night's sex comedy movie he released in 1982. Okay, so here Woody Allen plays Andrew in this period comedy, an inventor of impractical and dangerous things, who is in a sexless marriage with Adrian, played by Mary Steenburgen, and their life gets a bit of a shakeup when they host a weekend getaway with Adrian's cousin Leopold, played by the great Jose Ferrer, and her new wife Ariel, who happens to be Andrew's former fling. Tony Roberts and Julie
Mia Farrow.
Played by Mia Farrow, exactly. Tony Roberts and Julie Haggerty co-star as Maxwell and Dulcie, completing the film's ensemble. So that's I would categorize this in the current genre as a weird romantic comedy.
Yeah. It's well, judging by the title, of course, it's very Shakespearean in a way.
Of course.
It's this is a I guess we both agree that this is like a minor work for Woody Allen, right?
Yeah.
It's probably the lightest
Yes.
of the film so far.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
includes the comedies. That includes the earlier comedies, right? I mean,
This almost feels like a period like this almost feels in the same lightness as Sleeper. Don't you think?
yes, but Sleeper is kind of like, but Sleeper is like much more straightforward in terms
Correct.
of like
Correct.
comedy. You know, it's
Yeah.
nothing else but a comedy.
Correct.
I think this film is like, you have the quote unquote Woodyisms where they talk about metaphysics. You know, the
Yeah.
existence of the other world. You know, you
Yeah.
have those intelligent discussions, but you know the story and the concept really is not that. You know, it's not anything to write home about.
Correct.
But don't you feel like he deserves to like
Take a
have
break.
This, like, have this like
Yeah.
restful.
Yeah. And that's
I mean,
and that's
in terms of concept, it's restful, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly what I think it really was. Just, how you really have to kind of like regenerate the creative juices and kind of like, okay, we'll make whatever.
Yeah. Well, he just came from a run of heavy movies,
Oh yeah.
and as you know, he was one. I mean, at this point, he's already one of the top American filmmakers, right? And you
Correct.
just come from Annie Hall, Interiors,
Yeah.
Manhattan, and Stardust Memories. All of them are like heavy hitters
Yes.
in terms of like concept and content and substance. And
Yes. Correct. Correct.
now he's doing a very light comedy, and it's labeled as a sex comedy, but
Not
it's
even. I
not
mean,
even raunchy. It's like it's about sex. No,
of course.
of
It's
course it
it's
is, but it's
you know what
like
you know what it
yeah.
reminds me of? It's like
What?
if I were to do this a version of this comedy in today's
Yeah.
era, I would entitle it Craigslist Missed Connections. Because that's exactly that. It's just a slew of six people trying to sleep with each other, basically.
Yeah. It is. I mean, that's the essence of this film. However, uh, I think we would both agree that this is still a beautiful film. I mean,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
this is still Woody Allen. I mean, this is still
Correct.
it's a masterclass in cinematography. It's a
Of
masterclass in
course.
visual storytelling, and
And
we have to take note that it's the first Woody Allen movie where we don't see the city at all. I mean, this is countryside. One
you're right.
one
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one setting.
Yeah.
For
I mean,
90% of the movie, you're there. Well,
you're just
interiors
in
is
the
kind of like
forest. Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Interiors is like that, but it's still very New York. You
Correct. Yeah.
see scenes in New York, but
I mean,
here we just stay there.
the only kind of like civilization that we actually see in this movie is at the start when Maxwell was in the doctor's clinic or Leopold
Yeah,
was in the
the
university,
university.
and
Yeah,
that was it.
yeah,
And that was it.
yeah,
The next scene after that was just Woody Allen's character in the barn
yeah.
making his
Trying to fly,
inventions. Yeah, yeah,
trying to
yeah.
fly.
And I mean that's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
mean, not to take away from the fact that it is. I mean, I fully agree with William when he said that
yeah,
this movie is still very beautiful and not in the least unenjoyable. It
yeah,
just feels like it's a break
yeah. It
from
is a
all of
break.
the
Yeah,
yeah
it
from
is
all
an
of
intermission, right?
yeah, but it's funny. I wasn't taking down notes as much as obviously the other films, but what I I'm sorry for the rest of you guys, but I will I needed to make a diagram,
A diagram of the relationships.
which I will share right now to William.
Okay.
So I had to make
Oh,
this.
I'm going to screenshot this. I'm going to like
No, don't
right now.
screenshot it. I'll just send you the
Yeah, yeah.
diagram.
Yeah. Please do. Let's put it out there. I'm gonna
and
put it on Twitter and
and
Instagram
this is
after we
and this is and
broadcast
this is
this.
just funny because um
It's like a
because
playbook for for
no
a
no
basketball game or something.
yeah me being the designer that I am, this diagram, as we were watching, I needed to kind of like do some markups, like, oh, they're no longer together, oh, X this guy, oh, this guy, oh, they're now together, okay.
And then
So I need
the final one is like one guy's dead.
yeah, correct, thus the big X on Leopold.
Well, you mentioned that you're a designer, right? And
Yes.
our listeners already know that when if they listen to the past episodes. And I think after I give you this tidbit, you know what this film's triumph really is?
What is it?
All the sets that you've seen in this film was built. They are not real.
What?
Yes! The sets were constructed for this film
Wow.
specifically. The house is not there. The barn is not there.
Wow.
Everything was constructed by the production designer Santo Loquasto. And
Oh wow, okay,
yeah,
that's
that gives you
cool.
another another
Yeah.
dimension for this film, right? And we're talking about like it being a consent a content wise it's lightweight, but production wise it is fantastic. It's magnificent.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
you look at the sets, you look at the house, you look at everything, and you think those are constructed sets. That's pretty wonderful, right?
Yeah, very, very. That's very cool. And where was the shot? I mean, where was the location at?
It's shot at again. This is info from the Woody Allen pages,
Woohoo! Shout out.
from their wonderful book. Um,
Which I
where
unfortunately can
yeah. You're
will
not
not be
yet
able to
allowed
see
to, yeah,
in this
yeah.
lifetime.
Right. No, at least after the 50 films, you can compare
I,
and contrast your
I
notes
can't
here.
even visit their website.
But this was shot at the Rockefeller Estate in Pocantico Hills. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that one. This is just out of New York.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Really?
So it's a
Wow.
countryside just out of New York called the Rockefeller Estate.
Wow, that's
It looks
cool.
beautiful. The
Yeah.
we see the rabbits, we see the swans, we see
Yeah,
the
the woods
wildlife
is
in
there.
there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
cool. That's
very
very cool.
very very beautiful. And as we're talking about the triumph of this film is in production design. If you're
That's
teaching a class
amazing.
on production design, you make them watch this movie and say, can you guess that these are built sets? Yeah.
That's cool. That's a really really good tidbit then. Wow.
Yeah, right. So this is still an important film in the filmography.
Correct.
Content wise, it's not really that. It's not heavy at all, but that's a very good thing to think about when you're reviewing or rewatching this film. And of course, you also have the wonderful blocking and the cinematography. You remember that scene where the camera just stays at one place, but they're using the mirrors to shoot Mary Steenburgen and Woody Allen's
Yeah.
arguments. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah, 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 yeah.
that is very inventive. And Gordon Willis, who's still working with Woody at this point, credit goes to him. I mean, you see his tricks still, like the play on the darkness, the play on the seeping in of lights and stuff. It looks really really beautiful, right?
Before we continue today's discussion, we'd like to invite everyone to follow us on our channels and social media accounts. What Would He Do podcast is available on Spotify, Anchor.fm, and other major streaming platforms.
Yes, you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. All you have to do is visit our homepage at www.williamelvin.com/whatwouldhe-do for all our links.
Or you can email us, and we'd love to have a quick chat with you at whatwouldhedo@gmail.com.
This is a pretty film to look at.
Yes.
Let's
And quite interesting because I mean the interplay between the men and the women is still very very the chemistry between all of them playing together is still very strong. I mean, very strong performances from all of them. I mean, it's yeah.
my
So
favorite though is Mary Steenburgen.
yes, I was about to say. I was about to say. And she, wow. I mean, all of the muses. I mean, these three ladies are.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, of course,
This is Woody Allen we're talking about.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, I miss Diane Keaton, but
Yeah.
these are great.
Yeah. We're talking about Julie Haggerty, Mary Steenburgen, and of course, we welcome Mia Farrow.
Yeah, the first sighting.
The first sighting of Mia Farrow in the Woody Allen filmography. To tell you the truth, she's the odd one out here. In my opinion, at least. I mean, of course
Okay.
she's pretty, as she's Mia Farrow, and based on what I read from Woody Allen's autobiography. With a face like that, how can you say no? And it's like, but Mia Farrow, who's already in a romantic relationship with Woody Allen at this point.
Oh, they haven't broken up at this point.
No, she's the breakup is gonna come way, 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 way later in a much, much, much more controversial setting.
Oh
But
wow. So
this is the first movie, and they are newly together.
Oh, okay. This is this is interesting.
Interesting, right?
Cause
Interesting.
okay, so I mean, in the past movies, like Diane Keaton,
Louise
Louise
Lasser. Yeah,
Lasser,
yeah,
all of the movies they've made, at least those I've seen, they were already done with each other.
yeah. Right. This is the first time Woody's working with
Okay.
a present.
Current.
Yeah, with a
Uh,
current girlfriend, Mia Farrow. She looks
that's
awkward in this
interesting.
movie, if you ask me.
Yeah,
But of course, she'll do her best work with Woody.
for
Eventually,
sure.
after
For
this
sure.
one, Woody's gonna do his best work with Mia, and in my opinion, Mia's gonna do her best work with Woody, and we are going to see that in our journey. But according to Mia Farrow, she really felt uncomfortable working with Woody at this time because they were already having a romantic relationship. And
Yep.
according to her, she felt like Woody was a stranger when they were shooting this scene because your boyfriend is now your director. So that's kind of like it had that a little bit of
I can imagine.
dynamics in there,
Yeah,
yeah, and
I can imagine. I can imagine.
but they're gonna be working together for 11 more films
Oh
after this.
wow.
So
Okay.
this is gonna be the longest Woody Allen and the Muse run. And
Okay.
we saw her first here, Mia Farrow. What do you think of the character, and what do you think of the performance by Mia?
I I think I agree with you when you said that she kind of was the odd character out. But I mean, to her credit, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It
Uh,
wasn't bad.
I mean, her performance wasn't bad, and neither was it. Uh, amateurish. It wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but I think I think there being, I mean, obviously this is all speculation, but I think they're being in a relationship kind of like added to that weirdness on
yeah,
screen. That
yeah,
I mean, they were they were playing at they were lovers
yeah,
from way back,
yeah.
and it didn't feel like that. You know,
Ironically, right?
ironically, and
Yeah,
that and
yeah,
that and I think and that added to that aspect when they were together in the forest at the very end, when they realized that their spark was gone.
yeah. Right, 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 right.
And I think that
Yeah,
added to that, because I mean, and I think that is why uh the screenplay between Diane Keaton or Louise Lasser in the past films were so much more electric because they already know how to play against each other.
oh yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right.
So I think, yeah. So I mean, to her credit, it's I mean, Mia Farrow's portrayal of Ariel in this movie. I mean, the she was literally kind of the muse of three
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Right, right,
That I
right.
almost feel bad for Adrian and Dulcie.
Well,
And you know what? You know what's funny because
yeah.
as I was mentioning a while ago, let me just share that diagram again. So
Diagram.
I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mentioned a while ago that this was an evolving diagram, right? So if you notice,
You have a
So if
question mark between Andrew and Ariel.
yeah. Because they were nah. So I thought the interplay between Adrian. So I was making a sigh of relief that Adrian and Maxwell weren't were the only connection that wasn't going anywhere. And then at the very end, I was like, because so if you can see that
Ooh.
in this previous diagram, and then I'm like, something
Oh.
happened. So I'm like,
That's the twist.
man. So yeah, it was quite interesting how they kind of like weaved it together. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting
Twist.
chain of people.
Yeah, right. And but Tony Roberts as Woody Allen's best friend, I think we've seen it two times now, or right? Two times because he's also the
What's
best friend of the Woody character in Annie Hall. That's Tony Roberts.
right? Okay,
Yeah, right, right.
yeah. I was trying to
Uh,
remember where I saw him from. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where that was.
He,
Yeah.
He
Correct.
actually could have he could have played the Yale character in Manhattan too. Well,
I
but-
think so. I think so.
yeah, right. But Michael Murphy did a fine job there. But I'm just saying, it's like that's the template of the character. It's
Correct.
It's the Tony Roberts. We also saw him in Stardust Memories as that playboy character in the film within a film within a film, and now he's back to the best friend role for Woody Allen.
Midsummer Nights.
Yeah, and he's a perfect playboy here, and just you kind of feel the sleazy charm in in Tony Roberts, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Sleazy charm.
That's a good word for it. Sleazy.
Sleazy charm.
I don't think
before I
there's
forget,
any.
and I want you to imagine this movie
Sure.
differently, because this role, sorry, Mia Farrow's role was written for Diane Keaton, but Diane Keaton wasn't available for this
Oh
film.
wow.
So imagine how different it would have been if it was
Yes.
Diane playing that. You know.
It would have been really different.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, we're going back. Not that it's
Yeah.
bad.
Not that it's bad. Not that it's
Yeah.
bad. But I mean, after watching like Manhattan and Annie Hall and all of the great films that he and Diane Keaton has had, I mean, it's inevitable to just compare.
Yeah. I mean, we will never see it, but well, one thing's for sure. Probably Woody Allen's life would have been different if Diane Keaton was available for this film.
Oh, yeah.
It's like-
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But well, we still don't know, because the run of the really great Woody Allen films, we are looking forward to that. And again, for me, in my opinion, the 80s really is the best Woody Allen decade, at least for me as a movie viewer, as a fan of Woody Allen's work. I think that the 80s are the films that were made in the 80s are really the most special in the Woody Allen
I agree.
filmography. But
Yeah.
I also want to point out that this is also the first time Woody Allen was working on two films at the same time. Can you believe that?
What?
While
Okay.
shooting this film,
It's kind of wild.
yeah, while shooting this film, he was also working on another one, which is going to be the next one that we're going to watch and review next week. He was working on Zelig side by side.
Wow.
While he was filming this one, he was also filming Zelig, and that will also star Woody Allen and Mia Farrow, and that's going to be the next one in our retrospective. And I think it's going to be clear for you, because Zelig is also a a very ambitious film, and you're gonna see it next week. Uh, so th- according to Woody, this film, A Midsummer Night Sex Comedy, was written because, he was doing Zelig. He just finished writing it, and he just came from that run of heavy hitters, and he just wants to say, why can't I just write something, and then do it. So
Yeah.
this is the product of it. I mean, this is a break. And also, I think this is also gonna be our shortest episode, of course, because there's really not much
So far, yeah, there's nothing much there.
unpack in this. If you're enjoying our discussion, another perfect companion for your Woody Allen film marathons is the Woody Allen Pages podcast at www.woodyallenpages.com.
It's a great resource for film by film details that would surely add to your Woody Allen viewing experience. So check them out.
I think it's charming.
It is very charming.
Yeah, for me. I mean,
And-
the ending works. For me, the ending really, really works. That's a fun ending. Maxwell.
Yeah.
Sorry, who's
Leopold's character.
Leopold is dead, but he
and suddenly
he
became
gets, he gets
became a
channeled through the
spirit.
spirit ball. Also, my favorite visual in this film is you remember that long shot where we just see the field, and then we see the flying bicycle.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite visual in this film. Yeah, so.
My favorite was when Woody Allen was on his flying bicycle, and he was trying to talk to Mia Farrow in the window.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that was just
Yeah. light charm.
Funny.
This
Yeah.
this has a light charm, and it's a bit it's kind of like it's a refreshing film to view after Stardust Memories,
yeah.
which was wow. It was like I don't
Yeah.
think you've fully processed that movie.
No.
Even in
No, to be perfectly candid, when we were watching this and as we were going into recording, I was trying to remember what was the last movie that we saw. Stardust Memories. How did that go again? And I had to bring up the page again just to kind of like
Really?
put it back in my head. And then I was like, oh, it's this movie.
Oh, that's the weird film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird film where yeah, you know what, that happens because so much has happened in that movie,
Yes. Yeah.
and
yeah.
it's just like where am I again?
Yeah.
Honestly, the thing that I remember most in that movie is Sharon Stone blowing me a kiss.
Oh yeah,
know.
that scene was
Sharon Stone
Yeah.
blowing the
And that-
camera a kiss.
and right at the start of the movie too. Right at the start of the movie too. Yeah, that was magical.
Magical. Yeah. Well, do you have any other thoughts for this film?
Actually, none. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Aside from all of the convoluted relationships,
Yeah.
but I mean, as straightforward as his films go, it's. I mean, that's. I think this is one of the most straight, and I mean, there's also hardly any cast.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Unlike a lot of his previous films where there's a lot of interplay between. I mean, there's like, the main cast, but they're always like mingling with other people. In this movie,
yeah.
80% of the movie just centered
Six
around the
people.
6 of them.
Yeah.
So-
6 people. Yeah.
It was kind of like an easy thing to kind of just follow. But I mean, talking about their respective relationships, I mean, I yeah, as I've mentioned, I kind of felt bad for Adrian's character
And
because
Dulcie.
I felt because their their sexless marriage was kind of like, man, how can you not like her character?
Yeah, but it gets answered in the end. She
Yeah,
got
yeah.
a taste of Tony Roberts. That sleazy charm. got a taste of that. And
And
in the end, it saves their marriages.
I like how he was like, "Oh, are you okay? Yeah. Was I good? Yeah. I could almost ordain you."
Yeah.
It was such
Do you,
a
no,
it was
do
such
you
a
forgive
holy
me?
experience.
Do you forgive me? No, I mean I could ordain you, right?
uh, yeah,
And
it's a pretty
even
good.
Julie Haggerty was like,
Oh yeah,
yeah. Woody said that the character played by Julie Haggerty here, Dulcie, was
Dulcie.
meant
Yeah,
to be like a that cardboard busty blonde bimbo. Originally, it was gonna be like that,
yeah,
but then he met Julie Haggerty, and it's like, well, there's so much to do with this actress,
yeah.
to give her dimensions, and it's like it came across as that, she's not just a untalented, unintelligent bimbo here. She's a forward thinking woman, and she's very charming. I mean, everyone here is charming.
I mean, she even taught.
Ironically, yeah.
I mean, she even taught. Uh, the I always forget her name, Adrian.
Adrian.
It's because she has a guy's name. No, I mean, Dulcie's character even taught Adrian's character how to do the Mexican cartwheel.
The Mexican cartwheel. And there's such a thing. If you Google Mexican cartwheel, there is such a thing.
I don't want to Google Mexican cartwheel, and yet my fingers.
I did Google what the Mexican cartwheel is, and because I was reading the notes from the Woody Allen pages for this film, and there's a note there that says there's such a thing as a Mexican cartwheel. So I googled what a Mexican cartwheel is, and now I am
Ah,
one.
this is this is quite graphic.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Google, for informing me, and thanks a
I
lot,
did not
Woody,
need to see this,
for
but sure.
for informing us what a Mexican cartwheel is. Uh, I don't know how. Well, again, this is 1980, so they probably the experimentation was all done in in the
Oh yeah.
1970s and the 1960s. So probably much more. Also, I mean, that reminds me the dynamic between this like ultra conservative Adrian and even Mia Farrow's character.
Yeah.
This is the return of like she slept with the whole Chicago White Sox thing, and
Yeah.
it's okay, right?
Yeah.
It's okay, that they're embracing this
There
thing.
there was no
It's
slut
not to
shaming there.
shame.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not to shame the character for sleeping with a whole lot of men, but it's like it's just a contrast between that ultra conservative Adrian and Dulcie and even
Correct.
Mia Farrow. I wish Mia just played this a little bit more bubbly than she was in this film.
Well,
But
Well, maybe she'll. I mean, I haven't seen her in anything, so I wouldn't be able to kind of like
yeah, right.
judge. So,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I look forward
Diane
to.
Keaton. You've seen her in like
Oh yeah,
other films,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
like,
you
a lot
kind of
of
know
other films.
the caliber. Well, Mia Farrow is a very good actress, and we are going to see more of her in the next 11 films.
I look forward to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I look forward
and,
to it, especially with you when you mentioned that the '80s is your favorite era for
Yeah.
for this.
Not
So I'm
and
looking
not
forward
only
to
that,
it.
I also mentioned that creatively, artistically, as an actress, Mia Farrow is still my favorite Woody Allen muse.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So we are
Looking
going to see
forward.
that run. We are going to have Zelig next, and I think this is going to be interesting for Q to watch. Have you seen Forrest Gump?
Yes,
Yes. Okay. So,
Yes, that Forrest Gump is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah. Let's move. Let's look forward to Zelig then, and let's see what Q thinks of Zelig. We are going to go back next week, and hopefully we're gonna have a more
A
substantial
meteor discussion.
yeah, substantial discussion for a more substantial film, and I
Correct.
could assure you that it is. Yeah, that's our episode for now. I think people are gonna understand that this is a minor. This is a break from all the heaviness and
Correct, yeah.
the meatiness of Woody's work, and still we are enjoying what Woody do. And thank you so much for everyone who's commenting, for everyone who are for everyone who is sending us emails and messages and comments. Just keep
Yeah.
them coming.
Yeah, we really really love it when you guys tag us or react to our stories or send us whatever. I mean, talk to us. I mean, if you have like any parallelisms of other films that you may want to suggest or just react to whatever we're saying, yeah, we really really appreciate it, and thanks for dropping by. And yeah, I think that is
Well,
it for this episode.
You already sent me the
Yes.
diagram. After we after this broadcast, we are going to post this on Instagram and Twitter, and we hope to see you there. So this is what Woody do, and we'll see you again next week. That was today's
See you guys.
episode of Woody Allen's Decades in Film, a podcast about the incredible filmography of one of the most prolific and most controversial filmmakers of our time.
Join us again next week for another deep dive on the art of Woody Allen.